and welcome to Twickenham for the third match of the Autumn Nations Cup. I'm Alistair Eakin alongside Dowie Morris. Today, the reigning Six Nations champions England up against Georgia, who have a golden opportunity to prove they belong amongst rugby's international elite. The format, a simple one, 8 teams split into 2 pools. Pool A, comprising England, Georgia, and the 2 teams that played each other last night, Ireland and Wales. Ireland the winners, of course. Pool B, containing France, Fiji, and Scotland and Italy, who've just played out in Florence. Scotland overcoming the Italians, and each team plays the other 3 in their pool over 3 successive weekends. And then the top-ranked team in Pool A will play the top-ranked team in Pool B to decide the winner. The second-ranked teams in each pool go head-to-head as well, so too the third and the fourth, and so we will decide the final placings. Dowie, it's a new format, sprung from the chaos of COVID, of course, but importantly we have international rugby and we have new opportunities.
We certainly do. Eddie Jones talked about that prior to this game, and we've got the Six Nations champions, England, taking on the country that wants to be in the Guinness Six Nations. Both teams have shaken up their selection since last they played. England will look to build on their usual kick-orientated power game, and Georgia will need to raise their own power game, especially in defence, and eliminate the simple mistakes and errors that cost them dearly 3 weeks ago against Scotland.
Eddie Jones, now 5 years into his job as the head coach of England. An important day, perhaps, as he builds towards the next Rugby World Cup and pitting his wits against Levan Maisashvili, who's the new Georgian boss. And for the Georgians today, really a case of being in the shop window. Winners of the Rugby Europe Championship, the tier below the Six Nations. The tournament they would so love to join. But today, very much a proving ground for them on their first ever visit to Twickenham. Well beaten by Scotland a fortnight ago, but they were understandably rusty. Many of their team hadn't played any meaningful rugby since February. And this, of course, a big step up for a side that doesn't get too many opportunities against the big beasts of international rugby. England clinching the Six Nations title 2 weeks ago, their third in 5 years under Eddie Jones. This tournament feels like a real opportunity for them to grow their depth, to develop their style, perhaps without the sometimes suffocating constraints and pressures that the Six Nations Championship brings. There are some fresh faces. There's one of them, Jack Willis, making his debut today, and they'll be blended in with those experienced campaigners. It could be, Eddie Jones will hope it is, a heady mix. Now, quite obviously, 2020 has been a testing year globally. The pandemic has affected us all. And before we get underway here, we're going to remember and we're going to celebrate those in the rugby community who have lost loved ones recently. And we're going to pay tribute to those who have worked so hard to help us find a way through the pandemic. We're also going to be paying tribute especially to Sergeant Matt Ratana, a New Zealand-born police officer tragically killed in the line of duty in September, the much-loved head coach of East Grinstead Rugby Club.
Special mention to the life of Police Sergeant Matt Ratana, head coach of East Grinstead Rugby Club, who was tragically killed in the line of duty.
And as is customary here at Twickenham, at this time of year, we'll also observe a moment's silence to mark this year's Remembrance Day.
For those in the rugby family and beyond who have served or made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. Please stand for the national anthem of Georgia.
Now to the national anthems, beginning with Georgia.
Please remain standing for God Save the Queen, performed by Farrell Smith.
God save our gracious Queen, God live our noble Queen, God save our Queen. Send our
Racism and any form of discrimination is not acceptable in rugby, in sport, or in the world we live in. Solidarity, integrity and respect are the core values of our game. Rugby united against racism.
So the formalities dispensed with, we can have a look at the teams, and Eddie Jones hands a debut today to the brilliant Wasp flanker Jack Willis. There's also a first start for Will Stewart at tight head prop, and Maro Itoje is picked on the blind side with Ewells and Launchbury his selections at lock. Youngs and Farrell remain the linchpins behind the scrum. Ollie Lawrence, a headline inclusion at centre, a first start for the 21-year-old. Joseph stationed on the wing, and Daly returns from injury at fullback. Amongst the replacements, Vunipola and Sinclair provide England's bench with power. Earl, Marchant and the debutant Malins with the speed and the dynamism. Georgia make 8 changes from those that played Scotland. Gigashvili back from injury to start at tight head. Mamukashvili promoted from the bench at hooker, and Jayani wins a third cap at lock to Kilashvili included on the open side. Young, exciting halfbacks, Aprasidze at scrum half, Avjan Dadze outside him. The experienced Sharakadze captaining from centre. There's a debut for Zvanidze on the wing, and the veteran Khmaladze fit again at fullback. Bregvadze covering hooker, a ton of experience there for Georgia. Giorgadze can play lock, flanker, or number 8, and Todua, their second most capped wing. So we talk about big days, Dowie. None more so than for Jack Willis on debut today. He is an arch-jackler, brilliant at the breakdown. He's been sensational in the Premiership.
Yes, and he doesn't want to be a one-trick pony, his words. He's coming here to do a job, and that's certainly what he's done in the Premiership, isn't he? And he's leading that 40 turnovers, and I think the nearest guy got to about 20, so he is incredible. He has an incredible way of getting over the ball. But I'm also looking forward to Ali Lawrence, because again, we talked before, didn't we? Closest thing we've got in the Premiership probably to Manu Tuolangi, but I think a little bit extra.
Exciting starts for those two players today. Nigel Owens is in charge. This is 99th Test match as referee, and we're ready to go. In the Autumn Nations Cup, it is England against Georgia at Twickenham.
Okay.
Here we go then, with the Georgians in white, punching it deep into the English 22, where the captain gathers, Owen Farrell. And Ben Youngs organises and orchestrates at the base. This is 101st cap for England today, raising the bat against the Italians. Aprasidze feeds it on for the Georgians, where there lies plenty of muscle power. The heavy runners will come thick and fast at England this afternoon. Abjandadze, plenty of pressure being applied, got the kick away nicely, and the mark is made by Ben Youngs.
Yeah, good physical start from the Georgians. We expected that. Watching the warm-up, Ben Youngs takes a quick one, but I'm sure this will go into touch.
Fired downfield by Elliot Daly, finding its way all the way into the 22. And the territorial battle begins early on. Daly again on the ball, back from injury to take his place in that number 15 shirt. This time fielded by his opposite number, Lashak Maladze. And we'll have a first line out of the match. Maladze, one of those who's been around for years seemingly with the Georgians, his 83rd cap this afternoon. He was missing against Scotland. They're going to need, and Levan Maisashvili is going to need all his experience today, as the line out functions nicely for England. Slade bringing in Joseph, hunting for work, and through the first gap of the afternoon. Was that an attempted knock-on? Nigel Owen seems unmoved by it. England certainly were exercised by it, and then a little knock-on from Slade, draws the whistle.
Well, he may need to look at that, because he just went with one hand. If you go with one hand, and Nigel's not wanting to look for the TMO, but if you go with one hand, you actually do put yourself in that situation that it can be a deliberate knock-on. Well, look, as Joseph makes that searing break, he has gone with one hand. He has made no attempt to catch it, so he's a very lucky boy. He could have been in the bin for 10 minutes. Again, it's just one of those things. Nigel Owen wants a quick, fast game, but again, he's missed something there.
Maladze, last line of defence. It was a question of desperate times, calling for desperate measures.
Stay straight.
Interesting what the Georgians are going to do, because they did struggle against Scotland, but as you said, Ali, they made 8 changes, most in that pack. A lot of experience there, not so much in the second row, but definitely up front in the front row. But this is one edge that Scotland did actually get on Georgia, so it'll be interesting to see this new reshuffled England pack. I know there's a lot of experience there. Not only sort of looking to see the back row, how they go, how Itoje fits in on the blind side, but also how strong these boys are to combat what is going to be a very forceful, very aggressive scrum.
It goes without saying that in Georgia, almost more than anywhere else in the world, I would suggest, the scrummage is seen as a source of national pride. They grow up scrummaging.
In New Zealand, it's a 7, isn't it? In Wales, it's a 10. In Georgia, it's 1, 2 or 3.
Here's Billy Vunipola from the base of the England scrum. Willis with the clear out. Here's Itoje, deployed on the flank this afternoon. Farrell looking to massage those defences and open up a hole or two. The white defensive line holding firm. This is Willis in the carry, perhaps an underestimated area of his game. He's a very strong carrier. It's a nasty one for Lawrence to have to cope with. Joseph picks and goes from the base. There's that roving role that Jones wants him to play from the wing. Punched over the top by Youngs. Daly's after it, so too Jamie George. Back they go in the form of Kaki Taputsadze, and the Georgians under pressure. Yeah,
Taputsadze doing very well here. Slade not doing so well in a position inside centre, playing for England at 12. He plays 13 for Exeter Chiefs with Devoto inside. Some people would like to see that. It'll be interesting if he mixes and matches this afternoon.
Slick line-out routine with Charlie Ewells at the tail.
Advantage, Blue. Stay up quiet.
Youngs pops it to Slade. Crossfield kick from Farrell. Looking to pick out Johnny May. It's loose, and May gets the touchdown. But it's gone forwards from England, and Georgia breathe a sigh of relief.
They were playing advantage, Nigel Owen. deeming that catch and drive was brought down. So I think penalty will be given. Farrell will pop it into the corner 5 metres away, but again it's a bit like American football. That wasn't a move back to Farrell, to May touching that ball on, so obviously that was never going to be given, but this will go into the corner and England reset once again.
As you mentioned, a free shot for Owen Farrell, but it's obviously something they'll be targeting on that right flank. Very few wingers are as good aerially as Johnny May. Jamie George again to Ewells. It's with George. Youngs thinking about flooding that short side, but instead it's carried forwards. Slowly but surely, Youngs has it. Youngs darts, swallowed up in the tackle. Options left and right here.
Step back, lads.
The back line expectant, but they might have to wait their turn. This is Will Stewart trying to drive his way through.
Hands away. Back behind the last feet. Good.
The pathway is blocked for the moment. Genge and Itoje plotting.
Advantage, offside.
Another advantage being played here. Still they keep it tight. Launchbury looking to lend his ballast to the equation. Stewart again, so near, not quite able to reach out. One more surge, that's Willis. Has he made it through with momentum? The ball is over the line. It looks like it might be good, but it will require some checking, I suspect.
The word you used there, Ali, momentum. We'll listen to Nigel Owen. Has he awarded a try? You're allowed one attempt. He's even not going to the TMO. He's deemed it again that he hasn't reached the line. You're allowed one attempt to go for that line. It wasn't there. The penalty's right in front. I think we may go for a scrum here.
Offside, your hands behind, please.
Scrum ties everybody in. Farrell's looking to who? He's the captain. Itoje, I think. Could be the next Lions captain. There you go, Ali.
Who knows?
Mr. Itoje. And there you are, going for a scrum. He ties everybody in. There's a delicious blindside now, or even come back the other way. But again, Billy Vunipola coming off the back there. It could be an 8-9 option with a 15. Daly coming in and using the wing. Options all over the place.
Just about the perfect setup this for England, isn't it, from an attacking perspective?
Good last scrum, same on this one, please. Discipline.
Ollie Lawrence licking his chops at the prospect. He and Johnny May to the right, the rest of the back division to the left.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Hold it there. Pressure up. And here's the belly going away.
It's there for Vunipola. He's going to take them all on. Support arrives from Itoje. Youngs to Stewart. Busy in the carry in these opening exchanges. Willis tries to duck underneath the tackles. Vunipola again from short range. Well held by Georgia. Putting heart and soul into this defensive effort. Youngs again, perhaps now some width. May lurking in the backfield. Looks to thread it over the top to find Jonathan Joseph, and into touch she goes.
Well, I can hear the Georgian bench just underneath us here applauding that. That was very, very good defence. Fantastic defence, actually, because England had all the ace hands. They actually drove very well on that tight head side from that scrum to allow Vunipola a little bit more space. But again, they just rebuked it, smashed them back at every opportunity. England forced to do the kick. It wasn't the most accurate, so it's a Georgian throw. So even though they're still under pressure, they have the throw into this line out, and England will be trying to nick it. They did very, very well. A bit better than they did against Scotland. They leaked a try after 2 minutes in that warm-up game. So it's a good start. Even though where they are at 5 metres out, it's a good start from Georgia.
Stay 2 metres. 2 and 1, please. Go 2 metres. Go 2 metres. Go 2 metres. Step.
Shortened line out here for Georgia. Shalva Mamukashvili, the hooker.
Okay.
Straightforward operation. Aprasidze has ambition on his mind. That's gone forwards. England have the knock-on advantage, and that was a shambles, you have to say.
That's another word I'd use, but it's a family show. No, it's excellent work. And then scrum half just puts the ball across 3 or 4 forwards. You just pop that ball out, you give your forwards a cherry ball, they drive it up, It opens up the blind side. You can box, you can exit, you can do anything. What it has done is given England, again, another incredible opportunity. And this is what I was saying, Ali, before the game. And they were bad against Scotland. It was those little errors, those tiny little things, those decisions 5 minutes from the line. Give a simple ball. Don't over-elaborate. Don't overthink it. Just get out, exit. And that's what Georgia, if they are going to come into the Guinness Six Nations, are going to have to learn.
Well, he's a lovely little player. Gela Aprasidze plays for Montpellier and is very lively, but that was a poor decision, and pressure does funny things to you.
And his experience as well. He's 27th caps today, so in his quarter of a century of caps, playing Ben Youngs, who's got 101 or so, or whatever he's got now. But that's a criminal decision from one of your key decision makers. Your 9s and 10s run the game, and it'll be a big ask now for his forwards to dig him out of this one.
Well, they'll be well used to the scenario. Some serious heavyweights on show in that Georgian front row. This, of course, the pack that roughed up England in a training session in Oxford a couple of seasons ago. England haven't forgotten it, but they're looking for payback here, and Billy Vunipola looking to bring somebody in on a short line. It was Lawrence who set the ball up. Willis again denied. Jamie George holds it back for Daly. White shirts everywhere at the moment. They are like a pack of wild dogs. Nigel Owens unhappy with the way they're going about their business, though, so another penalty to England. There have been plenty now stacking up inside the Georgian 22. You just wonder if a yellow card isn't too far away. I was just thinking that myself, but actually they're not malicious. You know, they're zealous, they're keen, they wanted games like this to come their way, and now they've got it. They're at Twickenham. You can see, all right, there's no crowd noise, there's nothing, but they are just absolutely flying off that line, and that's the big thing, key thing at international rugby. Defence is more important sometimes than offence, and can they stop England? If they can get away from this without England scoring, I tell you, that's a massive tick in the box.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Well, this is something Nigel Owens is going to have to fix and try to fix early.
How many props Ellis Games go into the touchdown? What's the touchdown going to do? Oh, my word. Front row forwards. Look at him. You love him, don't you?
Right. Stop the talking. Bit more scrummaging.
Well, they've got a lot of experience in that front row. Georgia Nariashvili, Mamukashvili,
Scrummage like he did in the first two scrums, please.
both with more than 60 caps to their name. And this is their bread and butter. They are facing the fire, that's for sure. The opening moments of this match spent almost exclusively in their own 22.
That's why I said they'd be great if they could come away without England getting a point. They'll force them to take 3. I don't think they're going to take 3 today. That's better for England.
Much more convincing from the English scrum. It's there for Vunipola. That's another penalty. Looked to be heading inexorably towards the Georgian try line. It's just a penalty for the moment, but again, they are straying rather dangerously, I would suggest, into the kind of territory where they're going to make it easy for Nigel Owens to just raise his arm and award a penalty try before too long.
He can't play on, he can't play advantage. So I think it was just going straight forward there, but again, I think England really have, and John Mitchell in particular in Proudfoot, the scrum coach, will have said to them, look, this is a big test for you. You know, you should have the ammunition outside. It's up to you guys. Can you set that platform? Can can you load those guns? And these guys now, Stuart, there's his first major start, and this is going to be a sort of not a baptism of fire, but again, I don't think they'll have probably scrimmaged against some of this ferocity or ferocious of this Jordan from the front row.
Again, England have the squeeze. Can they control it sufficiently now? Nigel Owens has blown his whistle again.
Yeah, they've got to come back. He can't give the advantage invariably.
When two sides are going good, the pressure takes both sides up. There's no offence, scrum down. Same
That's
ball.
what he's got to go. That's the letter of the law. The next time is, though, he's blown it twice.
Same ball.
Will he go into the posts? But if the team goes up, he's got to come back. What he's laughing at me for? Yes, I know.
Stay in the contest, stay down.
Stay in the contest, stay down. But it's very difficult when there's that much power coming from both sides.
I mentioned that training session in Oxford a couple of seasons ago. One scrum developed into a mass brawl. They had to have the coaches and the support staff breaking it up between these two. So there's a little bit of bad blood, a little bit of niggle.
Yeah, that's what coaches want, though, don't they? They wouldn't say, oh, it's terrible. No, don't do that, lads. But they actually just love to see a bit of aggression bubbling over. We don't want to lose too much time now on reset after reset. It is my bugbear.
Brand new tournament. Hopefully lots of fresh eyeballs on the game of rugby across the next few weeks. And collapse scrums probably not going to help the cause of popularity. Hopefully we can get this sorted out. We'll see the ball before too long.
Well, yeah, I think England will just want to do exactly what they've done on those last two scrums. To keep it driving forward. To do that, almost it's, you know, your legs have got to stay vertically underneath the shoulders. You can see there, that's better. I know he's asked them to use it.
Youngs for Daly, met with force. Tequilashvili's over the top of it, looking to scramble it away. Youngs has it though. Still they move to the short side. Willis wrestling and grounding the ball on his debut. Jack Willis has a try to his name. Great celebrations for the Wasp flanker. He's waited patiently for his turn. He has more than deserved his call-up, and now he has an England try.
It's taken England 15 minutes to do it, and it's raw power again. Willis just swiveling over like a very large ballerina with his teammate, Launchbury, his Wasp teammate, just at the back of him, able to just add a few extra pounds, but he didn't really need it. He's got tremendous skill over top of the ball, and he showed tremendous skill in scoring that try again. It's taken England 15 minutes to get their first score, and their forwards are going very well, especially in the tight, where they thought possibly they'd be asked a few questions by Georgia. They've answered that with some really good scrummaging. It'll be interesting to see if England can carry on doing this, set the platform. And absolutely these boys in blue, and England are playing in blue, will light the touch paper and go for a big score.
Farrell ignoring the heat of the advancing runners from Georgia. Takes England 7 points in front, and Jack Willis is a happy man. He has been tearing up the Gallagher Premiership in the domestic league for Wasps. He won all the awards that there were to be won in the season just finished, the Premiership Player of the Season and the Players' Player as well. And he started very, very well here at Twickenham this afternoon.
It's a big mantelpiece, that's for sure. But again, he has a good performance here. He might take some shifting, and that's including Tom Kerry's on the bench, and you've got the likes of Ben Kerry, Andy Hill, all these guys. We have a plethora of open sides who jackal over the ball and turn the ball over. But again, like you said, he's been literally pulling up trees in the Premiership.
Excellent take here from Gorgadze of Georgia. Mamukashvili runs into a brick wall. Launchbury there with the tackle. Aprasidze. Testing out Johnny May's aerial excellence. That's gone forward seemingly off England, and Nigel Owens will have to call us back for another scrum.
Yeah, it was a good kick from the scrum half. Apadadze putting the ball up there, and it's just starting to drizzle again. We've had quite a bit of rain around Twickenham all morning. It was forecast, so the players will have been up for it. They'll have trained for it as well. But again, good use of the boot there, box kick. Most people were onside there. Johnny May normally very, very good, just couldn't quite get to it. Touches the ball forward, Toji's in front of him. Nigel Owens just not offside, it's just a knock forward.
Keep the pressure up. Crouch. Bind. Set. Hold it there, steady up.
Georgia holding firm on their own feet. Gorgadze
Release.
Aprasidze. Again, Gorgadze driving into Maro Itoje, attempting the strip. Inside ball from Georgia. No great momentum behind them as they run onto the ball at this point. England's line speed, as ever, strong. Tekilashvili drags them forwards. Abjandadze threads this one through, and Elliot Daly will watch that carefully.
That's okay. From the fly-half, he didn't have very much option to do that as the coach looks on. Because, again, you're right, it's all about line speed. It's all about the pressure England can put on teams. They fly off that line and you just haven't got a second to think. You've almost got to have your forwards coming around the corner, but something England work on, something Georgia will know about, is whether they can actually exert some pressure and get into some territory. This is the first time in the 22, and now Youngs as ever picks the ball back down the field.
Fielded by Tabitsadze. Kmaladze sends it up again. We're going to see a lot of that this afternoon, given the conditions. Vunipola swivels and turns. As Will Stewart earned his first start on the tight head this afternoon. Lots of competition in that area now, with the likes of Kyle Sinclair, who's on the bench today. Harry Williams as well of Exeter. Taken by Gorgadze, but the chase is a strong one from Johnny May. Working hard over the ball.
He's trying to get on the ball. You must release and try to move away as well.
And Willis, the last man up, and that is his stock in trade. The timing of when to go into the breakdown, Dowie, absolutely critical, and he's first class in that regard.
Well, you said about, again, we were in a chat before, the elasticity, is that right?
Elasticity.
That's the word I was looking for, thank you very much. I've got my teeth in. His ability just to sort of get his legs, you know, across the ball in a sense, and still stay there and stay there and stay there, take the hit after the hit, and all of a sudden, you know, you win that turnover, crucial turnover.
They've gone to the front. It's taken by Youngs, and Vunipola is at first receiver, and here comes Genge, and England are on the charge. Youngs again inside the 22. Farrell flooding to the left. Support line is there from Jonathan Joseph. Flag intervenes. We will have the line out, but England just revving through the gears.
Revving through the gears, and I'm thinking, Eddie Jones, if you're thinking what I'm thinking, keep the ball in hand. I think Farrell needed to kick that ball away. You had 2-on-2, well, it was a 2-on-2 with the full with scrum half, sorry.
Okay. But now you
covering at the back, keep the ball in your hands. That's the first thing you were ever taught, in a sense. If you have to kick it, there has to be a serious problem with that, especially when England did 2 rampaging runnings, including Genge. They got right into the middle, options all over the place.
Georgians go well beyond the tail. And this time, Aprasidze will play his cards rather closer to his chest, I suspect.
I hope so.
Safety first.
That's all he needed to do the last time, really, was just one hit up and do that. That's a good exit. England still there on the 22. And I know it's raining today, but England do kick a lot of ball away. That's the way they play. They get the territory gain. Even against Italy, when they won that championship, they kicked the ball 44 times to Italy's 31. So it's the game plan. Whether it's wet, whether it's dry, they don't vary away from it very often.
One of the Georgians needing some treatment. It's Becca Gorgadze. Came off second best in this challenge with Joe Launchbury.
2 big fellas running at each other. I suppose I think if I was Eddie Jones and talking about the balance of how it started, the first 20, because they like to segment into 20, 40, 60, 80, obviously. England, yeah, I know the forwards coaches, John Mitchell, Proudfoot will be happy, because again, they haven't taken a backward step in the scrum. They've exerted some of their own pressure, and you do need that. Until they change the rules, we'll still need props, we'll still need second rows to set that platform. England will always kick it, because again, it's a territory game. It's the in-betweens, and whether Georgia can stay with England for the full 80.
Itoje, dummies with the delivery, looking to draw the Georgians offside. They were not going to be hoodwinked. Lawrence goes to ground. Youngs to Launchbury. Very highly motivated Joe Launchbury, having suffered defeat in the Gallagher Premiership final here at Twickenham just a few weeks ago. England on the attack. Daly looking to release Johnny May. Not quite as crisp as it needed to be.
Again, I'd just like to see that replay. Did May get too far in front? It seems that he has, and he was grasping for the ball behind, but again, it's good speed. Itoje giving the ball, that's a good pass there. Daly's in, yeah, he's just, it's a little bit criminal with all the pace that Daly had. He didn't have the space really, there was cover coming across, but you give yourself a yard, give the guy with the ball inside you a chance to get that ball to you, rather than force it across the body, which happened there. And again, it was the first, as Eddie Jones again looks on, it was the first time sort of Itoje took it on himself, just picked the ball up from the ruck, and it's all about that speed. We saw Ireland last night in Dublin, sort of outpacing Wales in a sense, forcing Wales into lots of penalties, outpacing them, you know, getting to the ruck ball, and it's quick ball. That's what you want from a 9 and a 10, and the decision makers, they can make that decision, who's running the ball around them, where to pop the ball, whether to go wide, whether to bring it back into the forwards. But yeah, very happy at the moment if I was one of those England coaches.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Seems to be a better solidity to this scrum, and Georgia holding their own here, more than holding their own. They've won a scrum penalty, which will cheer them enormously, and the support cast that are here, the handful of Georgian squad members that are not taking part on the field today, deliriously happy with that result.
In Georgia, see, that's better than scoring a hat-trick. Having a penalty from the front row, second row, everyone was in, all 8 were pushing there. They turned England into a reverse mode and won the penalty. Delight, absolute delight, and it gives them a chance of getting out of their 22, putting a bit of pressure on England. However,
if you miss touch, you squander your opportunities very often. Avchandadze. Daly chasing in. Well held by Avchandadze, who chased hard. Genge, little pop, changing the point of attack. Willis running the support line. Youngs with the box kick. May herring forwards. It's claimed by Aprasidze, the smallest man on the field.
That was an absolute super take.
Saganadze held by England. Just struggling to generate any momentum at the moment in their phase play, Georgia. It was sluggish in their game against Scotland a couple of weeks back. And again, just lacking a little bit of dynamism. Daly under the high ball. Willis. Industrious as ever. Youngs. Farrell. Joseph. This is promising from England. Slade to George and Lawrence, but that was forwards. And again, just that final pass, or the penultimate pass in that occasion, letting England down.
Yeah,
Johnny May overrunning the ball a few moments ago on the other side of the field, and that ball from Slade, in fact, arguably, both the pass from Slade and the one from George went forwards.
Oh, the tight head, the try was on, the tight one on the arm down.
So, just lacking that clinical edge. And I suppose, Dowie, you know, they obviously, England had the match against the Barbarians cancelled on account of the COVID trouble in the Barbarians camp, and they've had one run out, but you would expect, given the amount of time they've had in camp, you would expect those kind of passes to go to hand.
You would, indeed, because again, that's what they do. They were rusty out in Rome. I was out there. They had enough on them that day to turn that game around. I think Ben Youngs was pretty good, scoring those crucial tries beginning the first half and second half. But the crucial thing for me, if I'm a Georgia supporter, they've already made 51 tackles to England's 21, is whether they can, like I said, keep this relentless sort of defensive aspect up of the game.
Aprasidze charged down, at least in part, by Maro Itoje. And again, another penalty going England's way.
You can't fall on the ball there, three, and then just stay there. You fell on the ball, you must move, please.
Big tackle coming in from Billy Vunipola to set the platform for England. Sherekadze knew all about that one.
The captain certainly, I don't think anyone would know all about that one. Vastly experienced, very, very hard running inside centre, but Billy Vunipola, absolutely, it's no problem, he's wrapped his arms around it. It wasn't high, he didn't slip up, he didn't do a seatbelt. It was absolutely perfect.
I told you with line-out ball. Vunipola feeds Youngs, looking to find Joseph. Instead, it ends up with Genge. And Genge has lost the ball, and Aprasidze has it for Georgia. Farrell anticipating well. Using Daly, arriving at speed. Youngs, Farrell, a little bit disjointed at the moment from England. Doesn't seem entirely structured. Farrell to Launchbury, that was loose again, it has gone backwards.
Advantage.
May, change of plan on the directional front here from Johnny May.
Hands away in there, please.
Farrell looking to impose some order via the kick. Slade chasing hard after this one, and Maladze is equal to the task aerially.
Yeah, he's done very well. But Owen Farrell again, it's just England. I've never seen England sort of pass as badly as this. Over the sort of first half hour of the game, 3 handling errors I'm hearing that's already. But again, it's just unlike England because again their precision is normally very good. They want to play a high-tempo game, but if it stops, then they start kicking.
Opportunity to do that now through May in broken field on the counter-attack. Youngs to Farrell. Joseph brought down by Sharakadze.
12. Advantage. 12, not slow. Very good. Wait, okay. 12. They have to enter from the side because the 12 is too slow moving. Away quicker, please.
So Nigel Owens finding fault with the Georgians' breakdown work again.
Sit in there, move.
That's a very good kick from Farrell at a pretty fine angle.
Yeah, to Captain Shagadadze there, just not moving away inside centre. He's on the ball. You've got to get away. You've got to make one movement, and when you get away, you roll away. You roll away from touchline to touchline. And then the other captain, Owen Farrell, pumping that. His forwards will love that. Nearly 5 metres out. It's fantastic on the angle. And here they go again.
100% at line-out time, England so far. And again, though, with inside of the Georgian try line here. Working it slowly. Jamie George, ball in hand. Here's George. Try number 2. Efficient and clinical that time. Much of the build-up has been clunky, but the result, 5 points from Jamie George.
Again, a bit like Scotland against Georgia. And 8 tries to 1, and the majority came from the catch and drive. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. In there come the vans. You can see the 2 second rows Launchbury and Hughes there.
Just to let you know,
they're just in the middle there. Jamie George at the back. There was absolutely nothing that Georgia could do about it. Again, it's all about timing. This is a hard thing to do. This is hours and hours of training on the paddock as it splits up. You've got to know where your power man is coming from. And George is the power man there. Straight through the middle. Kept his composure. Mako Vunipola enjoying that one, well, he would the front row union. And England score another try.
Just keep looking hard on the scrums, okay? They are responding, they are listening. We've got some decent scrums, but just let's keep on top of it all. We have to get to see the scrum, okay? So we start to reset and focus. Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Got full value for it as well. 14 points up England after 31 minutes.
It was number 6.
Jamie George with his 4th try in international rugby.
You've got to say they're clinical. They're making a few handling errors, England, getting into those positions. But when they get in those positions, they've come away with points. Willis first, George second. Ominous signs really for Georgia. But this is what they've got to do. They've got to stay in the game. They've got to cut out their mistakes. And you almost got to say, okay, well, England are good at that. They should be. They've been together for so long. They've got fresh people. We haven't had that much rugby, Georgia, but they've just got to compose themselves now and don't do things like that.
Yeah, that is not going to help them. Lasher, Kmaladze sending it out on the full from the restart. Criminal, really.
It's a coach killer. That's what they say. But again, it is. You don't have to do that. Just what are you attempting to do? No, sorry, just lost for words, because you could just go straight down the middle of the field. It would make it a difficult kick then from England to go left or right, as long as the rush was fantastic. The press from the kick was great. It's just the kick was so inaccurate.
Set up, just set up, you ready? Set up. Set up. Yes, no, I want to speak to you. Set up. I'm setting up.
So the impetus, the momentum.
I want the same respect from their ball as on your ball, please.
Handed straight back to the home team. Scrum on halfway. And they can continue this process that they will have embarked on from the outset, the softening up of these Georgian forwards. Young's not a nice delivery for Slade. He's made the best of it though, and May is threading it through. Lawrence hurtling after it. Back goes Abjandadze. Only a couple of metres gained via the boot, but importantly he was there.
He was there indeed, but again England find themselves back with almost exactly where they were when they scored a try with George a couple of minutes ago. Fly half doing well, but again it's a lovely little dribble through from there. I don't mind that in that situation, because he had no pace, no space, sorry, he's got plenty of pace, no space to go, so put it on the toe, get it into the corner, and really again this should be another try from England, unless Georgia can do something about it, because again it's a good set once more.
Charlie Ewell's the focal point of the drive, and again this an area Georgia are having all kinds of bother containing. Jamie Dodge touching down for a second, and England's third, and Georgia at the moment in all kinds of bother in trying to defend England's drive.
There's a little bit of deja vu. It's Twickenham, and that is very, very well done. You're going to say England doing that superbly. Georgia just been splintered left, right and centre. No one can stay in there long enough, because again there's so much power coming through. You can see Genge on the side, sorry, Stewart on the side. He's pushing people with him, attracting people. And there you go, big hand, big applause, round of applause from the England bench. And that's how you put sides away, that's how you make sides pay. Put them in the pain, put them in the zone, and they know exactly what's coming at them, and it's always the same thing. If you know what's coming at you, but you can't do anything about it whatsoever.
Having done it a couple of times now, England, they will be pushing that pressure point throughout. Not this time for Farrell, but with 5 minutes to go to the break, England leading Georgia by 19 points to 0.
And invariably, Ali, it all came from that kick from Georgia initially that went out on the full. The resultant of that, after a couple of moves and Johnny May's chip through, is into the corner. Smile says it all. Doesn't get much easier than that. Throw the ball in, big fella catches it. I just get in the back of the van and I just trinkle over the line.
Well, he'll be sizing up a hat-trick before too long, you suspect.
Well, I don't think England are going to change, because again it's all about pragmatism and getting in the right areas and playing it, and England won't go away from this kick chase game. They'll use the power game, and it's up to Georgia whether they can stop this sort of carrying game that England will do. Here we go again with Ben Youngs up in the air.
Gorgadze in the backfield. Brought down well by Joseph. Pasidze feeds to Kilashvili.
Go back.
Willis in danger of straying offside. There's plenty of height on that from Pasidze, but not quite the distance. It's fallen for him though, as he dribbles it through and finds touch, and Georgia making incremental headway.
Where England can take the ball on a rattle, as I like to call it, with momentum. Georgia actually just go from one phase, stop, to the next phase, stop, because they can't keep that momentum up. The only option for them then is to put the box kick up. And the scrum half got away with that a little bit. It wasn't the best. Normally he's got to go up for between sort of 3-4 seconds, give people a chance to get underneath it. Joseph couldn't get it, but again, at least Georgia showing a little bit of rolling the sleeves up and trying to carry the ball. But again, it's that England line speed and defence is so good.
Farrell lying deep, giving himself a little bit of extra space for the clearance. Here's Kamaladze.
Stay white.
Space in behind Lawrence, who's chased back well. Kicking game, not his first suit, but he's found space there. It's a very, very good kick. And the chase is a strong one as well. Avjandadze does the necessary for the Georgians.
They'll take that. It's what you're told or taught at a very early age. If you're in the midfield and you are going to kick the ball, find some grass. And Lawrence certainly did that.
England working it through their line out again. Not the cleanest of deliveries. Slade holds it back for Joseph. Joseph arcing through, fading inside the 22, releasing Daly. Quality from England, straight off first phase. Something to gladden the hearts of Eddie Jones, that's for sure, and his coaching staff.
He'll be happy because it's been power, 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 bash him up, bash him up, bash him up, and all of a sudden then show some silky skills. Joseph, none better than that, just gliding through that gap. Could have been May, it isn't May, it's Daly, and that was far too easy from an England point of view. It's just one ball out the back. Joseph, one handoff, one pass.
It's up to you. What do you want to do?
And a try at least for the back so far. England have softened Georgia up with the forwards. Willis getting one, Jamie George getting two. And now the flyer from Saracens gets one in the corner, and that was very, very easy. Ominous signs for Georgia, and he knows it.
Yeah, frustration writ large on the face of Levan Maisashvili. That, of course, is the bonus point score for England. Their fourth of the afternoon. And Elliot Daly back with a bang. Trying his last 3 test matches now. Looks like there is some pain for Jonathan Joseph, who did so much to create that try. And of course, I think we have to say, Dowie, don't we, that in the opening 38 minutes we've seen enough of this, can we call it a hybrid role that Jonathan Joseph is performing? He's popping up in all sorts of different places.
I think he's having the potential to be anywhere he wants. He's been carried off at the moment. We'll wait for Owen Farrell to slot this one if he can.
Over she goes from Owen Farrell. England's firmly in command, leading by 26 points to 0. And on comes Joe Marchant, because it's the end of the afternoon for Jonathan Joseph after this magical break. Must have done the damage in the tackle. It looked innocuous.
I think it is, but he's getting 2 guys, and he's just not obviously under too much pain by the looks of him, but he's in some discomfort. As we see the pictures there, good chance now for Marchant. But talking about his role, when you do get space out wide, there's no one better to exploit that than Joseph. Obviously played in the centre against Italy, but he can pop up anywhere, and he's got tremendous hands, tremendous vision, tremendous pace. So we wish him well, and hopefully he'll be back sometime soon for this the rest of this tournament.
Please.
Again, Gourgadze on fielding duty. First tackle made by Marchant. Ball dislodged, England in possession. They want to finish this half strong, and they've got some men out here. Daly leaving out Lawrence. May tries to step on the gas. Really good tackle made by Tabuksadze. Commitment to the cause. And that is half-time. 4 tries for England in that opening 40 minutes. A brace for Jamie George, 1 for Jack Willis on debut, and the 4th, the bonus point, scored by Elliot Daly. Half-time at Twickenham. England dominating proceedings, leading Georgia by 26 points to 0.
So you didn't affect, so I couldn't reward the 6, so the ball came back. Be careful, you come back. Scrums are much better now, okay? Very good positive. Keep it up. Just stick to your number. And don't clap them all. Close to the...
Welcome back to Twickenham, where England are leading Georgia in the Autumn Nations Cup by 26 points to nil. They've scored 4 tries. 2 of them have come from their hooker, Jamie George. Jack Willis, 1 on debut, and Elliot Daly with the other. They have the bonus points. The weather has worsened. The rain has intensified. And England will be eyeing a big score regardless of the conditions. Georgia with plenty of work to do, Dowie. It's hard to know how they stop this juggernaut now. Well,
they won't dampen England's appetite, that is for sure. You can see the rain coming down. They just stick to a game plan. They stick to this kick game plan, and they put the power on. And I think they've talked about this, obviously, the build-up, how Georgia are going to roll into town and test them in the scrum. Well, that hasn't happened. England have been fantastic. The catch and drive has been fantastic. And I was going to say, hopefully we might see some exhilarating tries.
Underway then in the second half. England's leading Georgia by 26 points to nil. No further changes to any side since the break. Just that one change made by England. Joe Marchant coming onto the field for Jonathan Joseph on account of an injury.
Okay, please. Hey, stay out.
There's Aprasidze at the base. He's going to be in for a testing time of it if the rain continues in this fashion. It is now
if you've done it, it'll be a free
lashing
kick.
down.
They won't penalise him, okay? No, don't you do that.
One of those days, Dowie, you're quite glad you're here rather than sweeping up the mess on the field, eh?
Absolutely. Nigel Owen said those days have gone when a scrum half could dummy from the base of the scrum.
Farrell. And the ball threaded through. Johnny May, gritted teeth, firing after it at high speed. Daly's kick through, finding touch.
And they've started, haven't they, the second half as they really finished the first. Johnny May was desperate for a score, hasn't scored for a couple of internationals now or so, but again, putting Georgia where exactly where England want to be. Hard throw for them now, rain coming down. Ball getting dried, but again, there'll be some pressure being put on. Ewers will be putting the pressure. Itoje will be screaming at them. Get that ball in, and look at that.
Yeah, the pressure's come on, and they've affected the steal. Launchbury has it for England. Youngs for Genge, who come back against the grain. Well tackled by Saginadze. Slade running the dummy line. Vunipola to the ground. Popped up and on its way to Willis again. Ball dislodged in contact, and Georgia have an opportunity here. Driving forwards through to Kilashvili, dismisses Farrell. Aprasidze onwards through Nariashvili. Little glimpse of, metaphorical at least, sunlight for Georgia.
Stay.
Abjandadze looking for some territory. It's a fine kick. Excellent kick.
Excellent kick, excellent exit. Again, he did so well there. Willis knocking the ball on. Georgia able to pick it up, ramble up the field a little way, and that's a good combination from the halfbacks. They're 9 and 10 in unison for once, and putting a lovely aquaplaning kick into England, sort of past the 10-metre line. Now, can they exert some pressure on this English line out, as England have exerted on them?
Stay.
Well, not if they compete. They don't compete, that is.
Okay.
Joe Launchbury plucking it out of the air, unchallenged. First start for him since the Rugby World Cup of last year in Japan. Well taken here by Tabitsadze. Shakes off the first defender as well. Aprasidze looking to bring some of those heavy runners into the equation.
Stay there then, good.
And the line speed sufficiently strong to knock Aprasidze off course, and a plan that started out on the open side is now heading into that 5-metre channel. The ball again dislodged, and these conditions are going to lead to a lot of turnovers. Farrell and Youngs working in unison again. Back goes Tabitsadze. He's going to chance his arm here, but he's been snared by Slade very effectively. Looking to open things up, Georgia. They're playing with fire inside the 22. Taken on effectively, though, by the skipper, Sharakadze.
Good, play on. Leave and go 5. Okay.
Determined run from that defensive position. Nariashvili goes to ground. Abjandadze
play on.
Snared by Willis. Mamukashvili. More width. Sharakadze dealing with the problem of man and ball. Did that go forwards? It did. And England's pressure, defensive pressure, paying dividends.
Again, that's part of the plan. They'll just say, OK, if you want the ball in these wet conditions, you need to try and run it out from there. As the Georgian coach looks on, we're just going to hit you back. And that's really been the problem for Georgia, is making a load of tackles to England, 68 to 32. And the carries, they've only carried the ball 20 to 52. So, you know, meters made by England, 305 to 66. It's all one-way traffic. They've got to try and do something to get back into this game. And trying to force passes when you can see the rain coming down is never going to happen. So this is where Georgia really do need a good platform, as England had in the first half, and a good kicking game, as England always have.
You see the replay, the outstanding work of Ollie Lawrence.
Set.
Well, we've had our fair share of scrums this afternoon. Lee Jones won't have minded that. Of course, he recruited Matt Proudfoot, the man who championed the Springbok cause at the last World Cup and led them to victory. And of course, the scrum was absolutely critical in that World Cup final against England. So Proudfoot was poached, and England are beefing themselves up in that area, you would think, as a consequence. Interesting to see the conversation ongoing there with Ben Earl, who may be deployed before too long.
Set.
I'd like to think all the bench could be deployed before long to give them a really good run out.
Good work.
Marchand sweeping round to the right. It'll push through from Slade. It's a tricky one to handle for Georgia. Ball bobbling around. Marchand has it. Good tackle coming in from Saginadze. Really aggressive defending, but England struggling to hold on to the ball again.
No advantage. Knocked on by White here.
Playing with an advantage from the original Georgian knock-on.
It's a very well sort of drill kick from Slade all the way through. Again, in these conditions, it's always going to be difficult for whoever is sweeping at the back for Georgia. As you're coming back with that much pace, just knocked forward. So England again in a tremendous situation. Options all over the show, left and right, as Georgia do make some substitutes, and they have to do that. And hopefully now the bench can come on and add a little bit more oomph and get them some position down the field, because that's what's been lacking. They've never been able to get in any position to hold that ball for longer. As you mentioned him, Matt Ben Earls comes on the pitch now.
So Jack Willis comes off. A very successful debut, I would suggest. A try and an awful lot of industry in the loose play. He's been replaced by Ben Earl, who wins his 4th cap for his country. The Georgian replacements are both into the front row. Bregvadze replacing Mamukashvili at hooker, and Gogichashvili on at loose head for Nariashvili. Both of those men facing the fire straight away, off the bench and into a scrum 5 metres from their try line.
Set. On it there. Give it up.
Collapsed again.
White.
Nigel Owens waiting for a little bit of assistance from the near side touchline from his assistant, and duly giving the penalty as a consequence, but we all know where that's going. More of the same.
Yeah, they'll just keep it tight now, and actually what they're looking for, Will Stewart, if you can look on this right-hand side, what he's trying to attempt to do is actually crab up around and push Georgia towards the post, so it's up on the right-hand side to open up that blind side for Vunipola to exploit. Daly's on the acting as a sort of second receiver out there. You've got Marchand, but on the other side, obviously, you've got Farrell, the usual suspects. Farrell, Lawrence, Slade. It's pace to burn all over the place, but it starts here. Can they get the platform? Can Will Stewart just really crab up on that right-hand side? It's gone down again.
Down again, but the ball is available, and Youngs is going to use it now. Farrell onwards from Slade to May, not too many options. And the ball loose again.
Camera with him, but again, it's good defence from Georgia. But as soon as the referee Nigel Owens says play it, I don't know whether I agree with that one, to be honest, because again, it's no advantage to England, it's advantage to Georgia because they know the ball is coming out. And it would seem to me that Georgia have been under the pump most of the afternoon in the scrum, and even though they brought the bench on, you would see that they still are.
More changes, this time in England's front row. Marco Vunipola replacing Ellis Genge, and Kyle Sinclair will replace Will Stewart on the tight head. So 2 new props.
Well, the England bench just below us here again. Just a big round of applause to those two. They put a good shift in for, well, 47 minutes or so. It's over to the other 2 props, experienced props coming on, but yeah, they've been their Lucozade or whatever they drink now these days tonight, that's for sure.
Saginadze
Stay behind.
securing the line-out ball for Georgia. And a really good touch found by Aprasidze.
It's a good little play. He's made a few mistakes, but again, he hasn't had the platform that Ben Young says. Johnny May hasn't had the ball that he's wanted. I'd love to see him again years back and pinned back and going for that line. There's nothing better from an England point of view than him in full flight.
Here's Ben Youngs, half through the hole. Jamie George combining nicely with Launchbury at the line out. Slade tries to gather the ball one-handed. Forward it goes. And that's more loose passing from Georgia inside the 22. That's been knocked on. Knock-ons left and right and centre. And back we go for the first of them. So we'll have a Georgian scrum on the far side.
Yeah, but England still camped in that 22. A lovely break from Ben Youngs. Show and go. There's Marco Vunipola in support, so that's good from his first touch of the game. And then Slade just trying to attempt to take that ball back with his left hand. That's never going to happen really again with these conditions. It has stopped raining, but it's very, very wet, as it's been most of the day.
Ben Youngs in illustrious company, of course.
Will he beat the fun bus, Jason Leonard? Will he beat him? Eddie Jones reckons he's going to get 150. Well, I'm not sure about that, but I think he possibly may have a chance to beat Jason Leonard.
It was more of a target, was it not, Darry? As opposed to a prediction. 150 would be going some.
150, yeah. Well, Alan Jones did that.
Absolutely right.
Congratulations to him. Thoroughly deserved. Fantastic warrior.
Hold it there. Keep it there, good.
Aprasidze feeds it on. And Jandadze finding Kveseladze. Beyond the gain line, beyond the 10-metre line. Gorgichashvili. Well tackled. Jandadze operating in a confined space. Here's Kmaladze.
Stay where you are.
And that's straight out from Elliot Daly. So a big net gain for the Georgians, who could do with a bit of a fillip at this point.
They could, and actually that's the first time they've really worked out or got out of that sort of rush defence or the speed defence that England put on. Elliot Daly just missing out there, otherwise that would have been pinpoint. But again, they actually played out the back very well then, the Georgians, enabled them to get that ball away in the contact, which enabled them to get a kick away. And England claustrophobic in that situation most of the afternoon, especially in Mario Togier then again. It's just, he does that when he's playing second row, so goodness knows what he must be like to play against as a sort of blindside flanker. He's got extra time in his hands.
Yeah, the engine is a considerable one. The Georgians come again, sniffing around the edge of the English 22. Tabut Sadze looking for work. Saginadze stopped in the first instance by Yules, slithering forwards and going to try to bring their driving game to bear here. Gorgadze inside the 22, ball in hand. Quite a moment for Georgia. Playing with a penalty advantage as well.
Front of the line out. 18 and you've closed the gap of the line out and you're on the players before they come to the ground. There's no foul play, but there's a clear closing of the space, so keep it open, please.
There's no foul play, Nigel. You're holding somebody in the line out. I'm sorry. He's got a great way of talking to the players. That's for sure. But you said it, you know, this is, again, it's a good sort of facets at play that Georgia are able to put together. Their backs looking still as lively as they have, and actually they're going forward attacking now rather than having to defend. You put your hand on it, you're not allowed to touch at all.
Maybe a very silly technical penalty, but we don't touch them till they hit the ground, okay? It's been good till now, so we keep it like that, please, okay?
Well, they are in the laws.
If they're in late, there's no number.
You can't say that the referee's not communicating with the players. He's one of the best. I do love the way he goes about it. But come on, Georgia. Deserve a try.
Yeah, opportunities knocking here. Brigvadze for Georgia, picking out Kurdikoshvili. They can try and exert a little bit of their own driving power from here. England doing their level best to disrupt it. The ball has dropped to the ground. Aprasidze has it, but it's gone forwards. And they might not have too many better opportunities than that.
No, they haven't come very often. It doesn't matter what they're trying to say to Nigel Owens. It's just great defence from England. They initially push you towards the touchline, and it's splinter, and they're going in twos, trying to splinter him in the way, and you can see Mario Toja there. Van Earls clapping. That's a good job done. And like you said, it's a very good opportunity for Georgia. They haven't had many at all. There you go, visits to the 22, just one from Georgia. I think that must be two, to be honest, because there was one in the first half, but points from the opposition 22, which is the crucial thing we talk about. Come away with points, England, 26 of them.
You just feel as well, Dowie, it's as much a mental thing at this point, isn't it? With 53 minutes on the clock, they're in the right area of the field. If they come away with nothing here, that's going to be a killer blow to their mental state. They need something to give them a little bit of encouragement to push on through. Otherwise, England will just keep bringing heavyweights off the bench. Tom Dunn still to come, Tom Curry still to come, fresh legs. Dan Robson will run around the base at some point as well, and it could turn into an extremely difficult final 20.
It could, but that's the realisation of what they're up against if they want to play at this level. If they want to come into the Guinness Six Nations, this is going to come at them all the time. And, you know, they haven't leaked a point in this second half so far. It was 26 in the first half. They didn't start that first half pretty well, but England just tightened it up. They took him on at scrum time, they took him on at line-out time, the catch and drive worked, and then we saw a great try from Daly. But at the moment, like you said, they need something different. They need a little bit of a spark, a little bit of luck almost.
Just a glimpse there of the two new props England have brought on. Kyle Sinclair, of course, a Lion. So too Mako Vunipola, just an indicator of the strength and depth that England and Eddie Jones can call upon.
And as England train with the ball in hand to be positive, they also are negative, as in messing up the opposition when they're in those positions. So, you know, they know exactly what to do. They'll train harder, defensively than they will offensively sometimes.
And Georgia turning this into a scrap, that's for sure. And for much of the afternoon, it's got to be said, the scrum has been a messy old affair.
Good contest.
Right, you ready for my theory on keeping the time out of the scrum or when it goes down? Is basically, if that ball goes in and it goes down, okay, and it doesn't come straight out, that clock is stopped until that scrum is reset and that ball eventually comes out, if you can see what I mean. You can save 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes a game. And it's sort of taken away from the referee, goes to the TMO. As soon as that ball goes in, if it comes out, great. If that scrum goes down, the clock's stopped until it comes out about number 8's feet.
It's good for saving time, your plan, Barry. I like it. It doesn't stop the spectacle still being damaged in some degree with a lot of this.
That is the problem, but surely you're going to get peeved with that after a bit. But I have been mentioning a couple of bars in my life. I've been talking about Jason Leonard, or back in my day, Jeff Probyn, or the judge, and they would bore you senseless with how important this is. And it is important, by the way, I'm only joking, but we do lose a lot of time. And I know it's serious, and there's a safety issue on it, but I think sometimes we could just save some minutes, save some seconds by a bit of the change to the laws.
Set, hold it there, keep it, bind up, drive square, and use it.
Vunipola brought down well by Abjan Dadze, the Georgian fly half, having to stay strong there in the tackle. Forwards comes Tabitsadze, the ball is loose, Itoji feeds Earl. Real dynamism now from England. Quick ball for Farrell, pumps it wide, Marchant's after it. And a really strong chase. Not a whole lot that Georgi Kveseladze could do there, and in the blink of an eye, England march some 80 metres upfield.
And that's all you need to do. Again, if Georgia need to find a very good exit policy, I would just follow that. Have a scrum, have your number 8, have a solid scrum of your number 8 coming off the back. One up and under, chased very hardly, right there, fortuitous to get the ball back. It comes back, Farrell puts it on the toe, and look where England are.
Come on, stay.
To Ewell's at the tail. And again, this driving game being brought to bear. Jamie George already with 2 tries chalked up against his name. Goes to ground, but England have an advantage. Little nudge through, Slade's after it. And Youngs' kick just evading the grasp of the Exeter centre.
Fell on the ground, caused the collapse.
So the penalty is England's, and Farrell's going to tuck this into the corner. That was Lasha Jayani who was singled out by Nigel Owens.
Gianni making the mistake, Farrell doing the right thing. Doesn't matter what message Eddie Jones is trying to put on, it was always going to be pumped into that corner.
Well, there'll be a degree of frustration, I would suspect, at this point from Jones, because regardless of the scoreline as it is, the second half is 0-0. Ewell's the fulcrum. Launchbury striving to stretch that blue machine forwards. In goes Farrell. Jamie George, this for the hat-trick! Three in the bag for England's hooker. It's their first of the second half. And they might just run away with this in the final quarter.
Again, it's what England do well. It's what England do best. They get in those positions and they don't mess up. James George's darts are very, very good. He knows where to be at the back. Farrell just lends a hand in there, gets in the way of any defenders that possibly could get in their way. But again, it would have been a penalty try if they'd have gone in and tried to drop that. But George knows exactly where that try line is. He's scored 2 already. I don't know how many in his Saracens shirt or England shirt he's got, but he's got quite a few, and that was easy again. That's the first 2 he scored for them in the first half. That's a hat-trick. They don't come very often, but I'm sure he'll enjoy it.
Well, he's doubled his tally in an England shirt in one afternoon. And of course there's 20-odd minutes left to play, so who knows what he has in his sights. And if the game continues in similar fashion, you would suspect he will be in a couple more situations of a similar nature, unless Eddie Jones deploys Tom Dunn from the bench shortly.
You would like to think so again, wouldn't you? I mean, Tom Dunn capped against Italy's first cap. That was great, but he could do with a run out now. You've got 20 minutes to go. You've got absolutely nothing to lose from an England point of view. It's in the bag, 5 points. You should be cruising it in from now. They are, the Georgians are proud. They are cussed. They're, determined. They want to put up a good performance. And it is horrendous conditions out there. We've got to reiterate to these. The rain has been coming there for most of the afternoon, as it was most of the morning. So they're not the easiest handling conditions. So you get into positions that suit you the best. It suits England. And they've had 3 catch and drives. So he's not complaining.
Jamie George dominant against Georgia. Here's Johnny May. Youngs to the air again. That barrage continues. It's slipped out of the grasp of Girogadze. Itoji's onto it. Jamie George now, he's showing off all the skills. The nudge through, it's a good one in the in-goal area, and back goes Kmaladze.
Didn't need to kick it. They had the cavalry coming up. Mario Itoje gave him the ball.
George had gone fast. Aprasidze looking to inject a bit of urgency. This is Girogadze, freshly off the bench, the brave man. Kmaladze skips infield past Billy Vunipola, but there's no way past Launchbury. Chops him down. Avjandadze did well to get that kick away. May backpedaling. Daly for company. He'll try and gather this himself. He's got May underneath it and very effectively sets it up just beyond halfway. Youngs. Tabatsadze. And that's off the outside edge. And Georgia under pressure again inside their 22.
You just said it, pressure. They take it in turns, I think, to come off the line. Malins and Robson get on the pitch, and that's nice to see. But again, it's that press defence that England exert on sides, and all of a sudden you can just see this blue man running at you, and it does put you off, because again the speed of the ball from the Georgians isn't quick enough to put England on the back foot, and that's what's happening. They're always on the front foot.
So changes being made. We've got a change at scrum half, and Dan Robson's going to get a 20-minute run as Ben Youngs comes off, and Ollie Lawrence is off. He's been replaced by Max Malins for a debut for Malins at the age of 23. Enormously talented. He's learned a huge amount at Saracens, playing alongside and indeed behind Owen Farrell, obviously on loan at Bristol at the moment. He'll look to make his mark on the international stage. Mako Vunipola sniffing around the Georgian 22. Robson to Farrell. Vunipola. Claude down. Farrell holds it back. Nice little
Away, White!
dummy run as Slade looks to move it upfield. That's gone forwards from Charlie Ewells. And the handling errors, admittedly in very testing conditions, are probably not going to make for great reading later on tonight.
They won't, and you're going to ask a question: does Ewells need to be that far out? Because that's there's almost a fly halves pass to take again in bad conditions. But again, England are trying things. It's all about pace, as I said before. Everything's going forward. England take that ball forward. It's always on the front foot. Easier to be directed from the 9. But yeah, it could be one-way traffic in this last 20 minutes or so. Again, England camped down in that 22, and that's where they have been most of the afternoon, putting pressure and exerting. And there's one boy who can play, Malins. I've seen him at under 20 level. Obviously, he's accelerated from then on, and I think he's got a massive England future.
Well, I'll tell you what marks him out almost above everything else, all the other skills that he has, the handling, the distribution, the vision. He is rapid. Absolute grease lightning. And it looks as if he's stationed at fullback at this point, having come on. So Daly is shifting into the centres. Malins, who we know has got a very bright future ahead of him. Mark McCall at Saracens, his director of rugby there, likened him to a young Bowden Barrett, and you don't come out with that sort of statement on a win.
But to make a difference now really and make an impact internationally is one, you have to be big. Loaded it from Ireland last night. Caleb Clark's doing it for New Zealand obviously, and congratulations to Argentina. What a win, what a win this morning. But again, it's big or quick, isn't it? Because there's so many skillful players, but if you've got to almost have one of those two, and Malins, like you said, is a rapido.
Louder, okay, sorry.
So the last remaining replacements warming up on the touchline for England. Tom Dunn and Tom Curry as well, about to get their chance, but in the meantime,
pressure off both sides.
A Georgian scrum just outside their 22.
Set, hold it there, keep it up. Keep it up, pick it up, bring it up. Good.
Fed out by Giorgadze. Abshandadze to Kveseladze. Tabatsadze. A little fumble.
There's a high tackle against Blue 11.
And there might be a high tackle that needs looking at on account of the intervention from Ben Whitehouse, our TMO.
Are you Blue 11? Yeah, high tackle Blue 11.
Just slipped up.
That's the shot from Johnny May, and you have to be so careful. Very difficult when players are dipping into contact, but it is the tackler's responsibility. Johnny May knows that.
Yeah, it certainly is. Johnny May's not a dirty player, and that wasn't a dirty tackle. It was a hard tackle and a high tackle. So, correct decision, good touch judging.
Georgia, number 5, please.
Referee communication there.
Number 5, substitution.
He'll be looking to get on the score sheet before the day is out. He's had a little bit of a drought. 4 games, I believe, that have come and gone for him. Not so much for Jamie George. A hat-trick today at Twickenham, albeit in front of nobody at all. But nevertheless, an international day to savour for the Saracens hooker. It's been instrumental.
It is sad we've got no crowd out for obvious reasons. I understand why we've got no crowd. But again, Ben Youngs down in Italy, it was surreal when he led the team at 100 caps, irrespective of whether you a lover or a hater, doesn't really matter. 100 caps is an incredible achievement, and it's just soulless. And Jamie George would have been a rousing applause coming off, wouldn't it, from the Twickenham faithful. But it is strange times, and it is what it is.
That's right, Jamie George robbed of that moment. Georgia robbed of the ball. But then the knock-on from England. Itoje did the critical work here, but it went forwards in the act of the strip. Just has a remarkable ability to keep going and keep going and keep going. He is as dynamic and energetic in the 80th minute as he is in the first, Dowie.
And you are going to tell me his age now, because he's not that old at all.
He's young. He's 26.
I saw him when he first burst on under-20s, and I think he scored 5 tries in the 5 games. And you just see greatness. It's a bit like Paul O'Connell or James Ryan when they were coming up. Definitely James Ryan was in the 20s, and you think, yeah, you are going to go places. But Itoje, and I think that we talked before, didn't we? They're trying to keep a lid on it at Saracens because he was getting man of the match, and you could not give him man of the match. His attacking ruck speed is incredible from second row. Like I said, irrespective of what it's like, you know, from blindside, but it's that engine you said, it's relentless, and he annoys players. He's in their ear in the line out, he's screaming at them like that, but he knows what to do. The only thing he's no good at is kicking for goal, but I'm sure that could come. John Eales did that, so
give him time.
Give him time. New shirt, that's not too tight.
Carl Sinclair ready to go then. And we're about to see a new scrum half for Georgia. Vasil Lobjanidze, another man who plies his trade in France in the top 14 with Brive. He's got to wait for just an extra moment or two. It's an England scrum penalty without the ball even being fed in. So that new look Georgian front row not faring so well. Gogichashvili, Bregvadze and Kaulashvili being undone.
You can bind on the jersey, but you can't use the jersey to pull down. That's what Nigel Owens was saying. It just relieves the pressure from England. Again, anything Georgia were trying to build has gone to paper in a sense. They just put the ball down there and they start again. This is what they do, they're relentless. Eddie Jones has asked them to be the best team and the greatest team ever. That will happen sometime, I'm sure, between now and the World Cup, or will it? You'll have to ask. He sets these targets. Are they attainable? We'll have to see. So hopefully next 15 minutes.
Just a slightly too elaborate set play off the line out that is the undoing of England just outside the 22. Ball went to ground and now Kaulashvili has it. Lobjanidze on the field now at scrum half, carried up by Giorgadze, who has injected quite a lot of purpose into the Georgians since arriving from the bench. Had an excellent World Cup.
Okay, I call it now, please.
Lobjanidze, incidentally the youngest player ever to the 50 cap mark. It's a pinpoint accurate kick, but it's claimed well by May. Curry holds it back for Farrell. This is Daly accelerating. Nice little burst upfield here from Marchant. Slade's on the outside. Punches it through to chase himself. And very effectively across for the touchdown is Lobjanidze. And Georgia, well, I think they're just holding their breath at this moment because you feel like they might just be running out of puff.
Well, again, they set the stall out very early on. The line speed and tackling from defence was outstanding. It's my thought process, can they keep it up for 80? I don't think they can, personally. England now is going to try and turn the screw. He's a very intelligent player, is Henry Slade. Just chipping the ball through. Like, criticise people for kicking the ball when they didn't have to. He had to in that situation, but he just puts it just before that try line, so Georgia have to take it over the try line. Gives England a chance of a big scrum now. Again, options not too good on the blind side, but they'll be maybe looking to take Georgia over.
Vanapola, it's there for Robson. Slade, little dart. Robson again, pops it up, here's Curry, very well tackled, over the top go Georgia, and that was an illegal poach. Here's Robson, diving through, neat and tidy and opportunistic, just the kind of play that England want from their scrum half. Dan Robson scores England's sixth.
Instinctive, exactly what you said. It's just a very good nines try, isn't it? They've been pulled left, right and centre, Georgia. They don't know where the next attack's going to come from England. Farrell does very well. He's calling and screaming for the ball. But again, the experienced 9 darts under 2 of the big forwards. And he's over. Like he said, it could be a very uncomfortable last 10 for Georgia now. England 2 tries in this second half. That's 6 altogether. They'll be looking to crank it up. I'm absolutely sure they want to finish this game. We've got Ireland next weekend here.
From a set piece or from
so, a good win against Wales. So again, it'll be a different contest.
Farrell raises 40 for England, and Dan Robson has his first try for England. He's had to be very, very patient, but there are a few better around the fringe than Dan Robson. He was extremely unfortunate to miss out on a World Cup place. He had blood clots in his leg, which actually came at a terrible time for him. Never a good time, of course, but it came with the World Cup on the horizon, and it really did strip him of the opportunity to go to Japan. But you sense he's ready to seize his moment now.
Well, Billy Jones gives him some game time to start with game time, because it's different coming on off the bench after just 20 minutes to go and the game's won, whatever. You want to start, you want to be thinking all week, I'm going to start. You want to go through the anthems, I'm going to start. And then all of a sudden, how can I orchestrate my powers and the way I want to play a game in the structure of England's makeup? So I just hope that man does give him a chance to really go at it. Chat. There's no one in the stadium. You can hear the chat from the England forwards trying to put Georgia off.
Go back.
Tom Curry in there looking to disrupt. Kaulashvili has it for Georgia. Lobjanidze for Giorgadze. Nice line cut by Gogichashvili, but England equal to it. And again, over the top they go at the breakdown. It's Launchbury this time. Dan Robson wanting to go fast. Angelo is less keen.
It's relentless, isn't it? England, again, without the ball, they do work harder. Sides do that, and it sounds stupid. But it is. It's just they just seem to have a different edge, a different animal about them, and they haven't got the ball. We've got to get it back. Got to get it back now, and they've done that within what, 5 phases? Straight away back.
That poaching skill is something that every single player has to have in his armoury. And Joe Launchbury getting down and dirty. And the Slade boot has put them within side of the 22. Straight to Robson at the front of the line out. And here goes Mako Vunipola into the 22. Robson, quick ball for Launchbury. Georgia once again on heavy defensive detail. Robson, so quick with his delivery. Right across the face of the defence. On goes Tom Dunn, winning just his second cap today. Slade, little pop on for Launchbury. That was almost nice. Just trying a little bit more now that the cushion is so large and the amount of time left on the clock is relatively little.
Yeah, I think for England's point of view, they'd look to score maybe another couple of tries as Georgia go around chasing shadows, and for Georgia to keep it under 50. And that's no disrespect to them, because they are learning to play rugby at this level. They've showed they're aggressive. They've just let themselves down with errors, as Joe Launchbury let himself down there, really. But again, trying to pop the ball out of those congested areas But again, England just stay in that 22. That's their priority in life, is get back down into the 22, put pressure on the opposition.
Off comes Georgi Tskilashvili, and Tonike Jalagonia is on in his place on the flank, wearing the black scrum cap on the far side of the scrum. And, a testing old day at the office for Levan Maisashvili, who of course stepped up from his role as defence coach when he was working under Milton Hague at the Rugby World Cup. He's brought in a couple of Northern Hemisphere coaches and administrators who have been assisting him. David Humphreys, former Gloucester director of rugby, and Neil Doak as well. Sebastian Bruno helping out with the forwards too. So he's got some high-quality rugby minds alongside him. This is a hefty scoreline any which way you look at it. Saganadze feeds it out. There are some tired bodies out there, aided of course by those that are more fresh from the bench. Lobjanidze looks for distance, and he's cleared it away very effectively. Always a tricky thing, Darry. Sorry, just to mention the pathway that Georgia are on. They have to qualify for the next World Cup. They finished bottom of their pool in Japan. We talk about growth, and we want to see them grow. Everybody, I think, in World Rugby would like to see them grow. It's very hard to grow when you're taking a pounding every week that you play. But of course, you have to balance that with being up against top-class opposition. Perhaps we'll discuss that in a moment or two, as Johnny May tries to exploit a hole or two here for England. Robson whips it away for Vunipola. Farrell looked to be something of a surprise that came his way, and then the knock-on.
You were clearly on the floor with your hands in, throwing the ball down. Now,
England have a penalty as a result of the intervention of Nigel Owens again.
Yeah, this will go into the corner. England won't change their structure and what they're trying to do. But yeah, to answer your question, it's a steep learning curve, but where do you start? I mean, you know, World Rugby, as the association, wants the game to grow, and you will always have the superpowers: New Zealand, England, obviously, Australia, France. You know, but you need fresh air, fresh lungs, fresh feet, fresh teams. You know, you do need this. This is why, for me, it's the greatest game in the world. You know, little kiddies are playing it to old vets playing it. They're still playing it. It's just fantastic. And if teams, you know, are serious about it, give them the chance. You know, there's the thought process with Italy. You know, they haven't won that many games. Give Georgia a chance, and they can only learn and get better.
Launch through for England. Robson shakes to the open side. Here's Billy Vunipola warming to his theme. Robson again pops it on its way, and it's hit the deck before it's hit Farrell. And that's gone forwards, and the Georgians are off the hook.
Stay.
Lobjanidze from the base. All hands on deck. It's gone straight down the throat of Johnny May, looking to work something on that 5-metre channel through Malins. Three and a half minutes to play. England keen to finish with something of a flourish. Here comes Daly accelerating onto the ball. Huge tackle from Kveseladze. That was a real boon to the Georgians. He's done himself a bit of damage in the process by the look of things, but that was a momentum-changing sort of tackle, Dowie. I appreciate we're in now in the 77th minute. It's not going to change the course of the result, but it was one of those that really showed total commitment.
They haven't given up. As we see, Jamie George has been given Quilter Player of the Match. That wasn't a very difficult decision on it. And scoring a hat-trick, his darts, his arrows are fantastic. His work rate around the park is great. But that's one thing that, coming back to Georgia, you know, they haven't given up. England have just been cute and been very clever and been very correct and accurate at what they've been doing. You know, Georgia came with a big rap, being one of the most physical packs in the world. Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If I was John Mitchell, all week, they think they're going to have a piece of you. Right, what happens? England take them on at scrum, and they do that, the catch and drive. So it's worked. I've been very impressed with England's the way they've come into this game. They haven't been too flashy. They didn't have to be too flashy. But fair credit to Georgia. They have played their part. All right, 40 points. I know people will look at that and go, well, you know, always talk about them coming to the Six Nations. They ain't that good. Well, they're going to get better. I can assure you that.
Here they are, finishing strong. Svanidze plays 9, whilst Lobjanidze is buried at the bottom of the ruck. Here he is back in position now. Saganadze, ever willing. Love to remove that big fat 0 from their names on the scoreboard, Georgia. Lobjanidze once again. Abjandadze, Sharikadze. No room to breathe. Ben Earl on top of him. Jalagonia back well behind the gain line. Maladze being hit from all sides. The scavenging of England continues.
Lost your feet. Failed to win it.
Jalagonia again. Getting through a lot of phases, but they've gone back some 30 metres at this point on account of the aggressive defending of those in blue. Abjandadze, that's loose, swept up by Slade, knocked on in the process on the slippery turf, and a lung-busting passage of play. A promising one at the outset for Georgia. Ends up in a whole lot of nothing.
Well, things they're going to work out is how do you work out to break a defence down that England are throwing at them. You know, it's this speed, this off the line. Well, you've got to have a little dink through, probably a grubber through, maybe push your winger out wide and leave the aerial bomb outside him. Or you've got to come with your big forwards, your big artillery, and actually crank it up and ramp it up even more and come around that corner quicker to catch England just flat-footed, because England are just coming off their line. Gay abandoned at the moment. You know, Toji there is so good. Look at that. You've got Dunn going in there. You've got Curry going in.
Okay,
you know, 3 guys almost just to 1 man, and that's a treble chop.
No, nothing wrong there, lads. He goes for a handoff, and the elbow comes afterwards. He's not leading with the elbow. No foul play. Lost on white. Blue ball.
Georgia given the all clear on the foul play on the elbow that ended up somewhere near Maro Itoje. One last replacement from Levan Maisashvili, the head coach, as Sandra Todua comes onto the field on the wing. We have just 30 seconds to play.
Shoulders, crouch.
One last bit of possession for England. Have they got one more try in them? No, it's a scrum penalty that's gone Georgia's way.
This height is good. You are stepped onto the arm and you stepped onto your knees.
Well, we've got time to go into the corner. He won't go right into the corner, but if he can give his forwards a chance, as they did, what, 10-15 minutes ago, then that one chance. But again, he's coming away with points, and that's been Georgia's problem. One, getting in the 22 and and not scoring. Very simple. That's again credit to England. They are outstanding. That wasn't an outstanding kick. That'll be it. Good night, nurse.
It's a sorry end, but it is the end. And England celebrate a hard-earned victory. They've put 6 tries past Georgia. They've kept them to 0. They've been clinical. They've been efficient in difficult conditions, pouring rain for much of the match. 6 tries a day for the heavyweights, and in particular for Jamie George. Full time at Twickenham. England 40, Georgia 0. So, Dowie, in the end,